Hey y'all, I'm Ebony K. Williams here, host and attorney extraordinaire. Welcome to Holding Court, where we analyze the very latest in legal headlines, the ones that got all the streets talking. You know what we do? We dig deep into how the courts impact the culture. We break it down, going straight from gavel to your news feed. And every week, we keep it 100. Right, Dustin Ross?
That's right.
Dustin Ross, my love. I heard you had some, I'm just get straight to it today. I heard you had some exciting news, some updates. What's T,
I
baby?
definitely got an update for you. So God is good and the people want to laugh. So everybody showed up and showed out. My first show is sold out. And the good folks at City Winery want to do it again. So we said, why not? We're doing a second show on March 17th. I'm so excited. It's at 9:30 p.m. on March 17th. So immediately after the first show, which the doors for that are at 6 p.m. on March 17th. We'll be doing it. So Dustin Ross Live at City Winery in New York. There's a second show. If you did not get tickets yet, they are available now. You can just go to citywinery.com or any of my socials, and the link will be there. And look at Dustin. I'm so excited. I can't wait to make y'all motherfuckers laugh. I'm excited.
Can't wait. We can't wait. Dustin said, Ebony and Natalie, get y'all motherfucking shit up off the table because the second show is coming in. Y'all got to drink, gobble up that wine, chug it on down, bitches, because I got my second seating, my full second. And, I won't give all the tea away, but just know that this was by demand, y'all. This was not just happenstance. Oh, let's just see what we can do. No. It was already spoken for. Like the demand drove the second show, y'all. And that shows the power of consumerism. Yeah, so it shows the power of how much people love you, Dustin, how much we need you. We literally need you in this moment. Also, if y'all haven't seen Dustin's TED Talk, that is available on YouTube, Dustin?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Just Google Dustin Ross TED Talk. It is a powerful piece of work, really, but really it gets to me, your greatest gift, my love. You have so many. You are a very gifted young man. I mean that in the most literal sense. A lot of people think that. Let me stop.
Thank you for the levity, because you're about to have me crying over here. Goddamn it! I needed that laugh.
You are truly one of the gifted. You really are. And of that plethora of gift, I think your greatest gift, in my view, that I've lived to experience from you, because I'm blessed to be in proximity to you.
Yes,
and
Lord.
Your ability, baby, to bring us to laughter. Through the tears, through the heartache, through whatever you're going through. It's a lot of motherfuckers for real being laid off, involuntarily retired off, let the fuck go. It's hard times out here. So this is the moment where we need Dustin Ross the most to bring us that levity, that laughter, that kiki, and it's going to be a vibe. So March 17th, y'all. If you haven't already gotten your tickets for the first show, get your tickets right now, because it's going to sell out too real quick. It basically low key, like let's say low ticket sales was already on the damn screen for the second show when I went to look at it.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I'm just grateful. So happy and blessed to be able to do this and be supported in this way by people actually buying tickets. So that's the ultimate compliment. And I'm just excited to live up to the hype. So let's fucking go. March 17th is on. And thank you for sharing that, Ebony.
Absolutely. No, because I'm so excited. I got my outfit picked out. You know it's serious when your outfit picked out already too.
That's right. That's right. I know you're going to be right.
It's green because it's St. Patrick's Day.
And I'd be damned if they pinching you. So I am so happy you wearing green.
Fuck around and end up on Holding Court trying to pinch you.
That's right. Fuck around and end up on the floor. That's where they're going to end up.
On the floor.
That's right. Not the floor. The flow, okay? That's it. But yeah.
All right, y'all. So good docket today. Nice mix here story. So we've got, of course, everybody saw Miss Karen Huger of the Real Housewives of Potomac, also known as the Grand Dame, has been sentenced as it relates to her DUI. We'll get into all the details, how long Karen's going to be in custody, why she got what some are calling a lengthy sentence. I'll tell y'all why I think it might not be long enough, but we'll get into all of that legal tea first thing on the docket. Then we're moving to, y'all, this one really made me so sad. It's just so unnecessary. This should not be on the docket in 2025. I'm sure many of y'all saw, especially many of my brothers and sisters of the D9, we have lost a young man from Southern University, by all measures, just an esteemed, young, promising scholar. He was, heavy into the band at Southern U, which is certainly a noble feat. And this young brother has died tragically, while allegedly, of course, all of these remain allegations at this point, trying to get down with the frat. That's how we're gonna say it. But
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go into it, and I want to zoom out. I don't want to make it only about this tragic case, but really
Mm-hmm.
just this notion of hazing as a culture when it goes to this level of fatality, and really
Right.
what the legal consequences are, right, Dustin, of what this means for our organizations, but really Black culture at large, because it's
Mm-hmm.
something we got to really, really step into accountability around, in my legal opinion. And then we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna wrap up. We're not gonna spend too much time on Princess Love. I have to say this. So I sent this story over to Ashley Dustin, and she was like, must we, on the heels of Black History Month, even talk
Talk
about
about
Princess? Yeah,
Princess
she
Love.
said that. Yeah, she did. I
Mm-hmm.
said, that's fair. I said, let's see how
Mm-hmm.
the rest
Mm-hmm.
of the docket shapes out.
Mm-hmm.
But the legal scholar in me could not let this opportunity, Dustin Ross, get away from me
Slide
because,
by,
yeah,
yes.
and I'm not gonna spend much on Princess herself, if I can
Mm-hmm.
call her that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Princess
but I
Love.
but right.
Yes.
But I must break down this notion of I am representing myself in a high octane family law legal matter because I want to appease the other side of the litigation. This must
I
be
just,
addressed.
it
This
made no
must be
sense to
addressed.
me. I
This
can't wait
must
to
be
talk
addressed.
about it with you. Yes.
Yeah. This must be addressed. Okay, so let's start with Karen Huger. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just laying some facts down for those of you who may or may not watch Real Housewives of Potomac. Fear not. Here are the facts you need to know. You need to know that a woman named Karen Huger is one of the stars of the show. She's been on the show for 9 years. She's one of the original cast members. We've seen her have ups, we've seen her have downs, but certainly this is the bottom that we've all witnessed from Karen while on the show. We know that March 19th, 2024, so about a year ago, she was arrested for a DUI and many other adjacent charges. She ultimately was not allowed to drive for a year, of course, as she awaited those charges. But here we are. We've got adjudication, Dustin. We all saw it just last week. The judge has said that Karen, well, first of all, she actually rejected a whole lot of pre-trial offers, and we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
The prosecution certainly tried at some point to make deals happen with Karen Huger and her legal team. All of those were turned down. They were all rejected. We'll get into the wisdom or lacking thereof of those decisions. Man, my goodness. But ultimately, Miss Huger and her team decided to go to trial, which is absolutely
Mm.
their legal right. They took all of the charges to a jury of her alleged peers. And ultimately, she was found guilty on everything but the reckless driving charge, but guilty of the DUI and guilty of several other relating charges. It's important to note that she was ultimately sentenced, a Montgomery County judge in Maryland sentenced Karen Huger to 2 years of active custody. However, one of those years was deemed suspended.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were shocked to see that, Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the fact that Karen Huger, at a minimum, I'll get into what that suspended part means, but at a minimum,
Yeah.
what we know for sure is that Karen Huger is going to do 1 year in jail in active custody. When you saw the news break, Dustin, what was your reaction?
I didn't want to see no old black lady go to jail. You know what I'm saying? For some shit that was a non-violent crime. Now, that's a very wide lens or wide scope that I'm putting on this situation because there's a lot of details that matter, right? This was Karen's what, fourth DUI, Ebony?
Fourth one. Yeah, this was the fourth one.
Fourth.
The most
So
recent before this one was a DUI conviction in 2011. Go ahead.
2011, which was a while ago, but still, you can't fuck around with shit like that. You know what I mean? 4 DUIs, there had to be some sort of action, corrective action, to kind of make Karen wake up and start making an effort not to get DUIs. Because after 4 of them, it seems like you really don't give a damn about getting a DUI. You haven't faced a harsh enough consequence that made you course correct. It is what it is, right? So there definitely needed to be some sort of like corrective action. But I didn't want to see no old black lady go to jail. That feels fucked up to see. You know what I mean? And I hated to see that, but I honestly believe she won't do a whole year in jail. Hopefully Karen will get in there and eat her food and mind her business and get out a couple months early and, you know, get back to her life in a sober capacity. But I didn't like seeing her thrown fucking behind bars. It just didn't feel sit right with me. It didn't feel right seeing that. So,
Didn't feel good. I understand.
yeah, you know what I'm
And for
saying?
no, I don't. No, not at all.
Ebony don't give a fuck. Send her ass to jail.
No, I'm
Yeah.
about to get into it. But it was interesting because I think a lot of people share that sentiment, especially I think a lot of people that are familiar with Karen from the show.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
interesting, where I now stop in my analysis. So you started with I didn't like seeing an old black lady go to jail. So I said, I wonder how old is Karen. Karen's
Mm-hmm.
61 years old. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I understand by some measure that might be considered
Older.
normal.
Yeah.
But, and I know you're not saying she's ancient, but she's older.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna tell you, maybe it's because I'm getting older.
Mm-hmm.
It don't even seem that old to me no more.
I
61,
know.
like, shit. Would you, if you saw Halle locked up, would you feel that an old lady was going to jail? Halle
I would
Berry?
not. I would
Right.
not.
And they're 3 years apart.
She
Actually,
stand up a
true.
little straighter than Karen though. That's the thing. I think Karen started that Ben shit a little earlier in her time. Holly still. You seen her on the red carpet last night
We
in that
saw
dress, huh?
right. That's what I'm saying. Halle
Yeah.
Berry is 59 years old, essentially.
Karen
I
always
mean,
look
she's
like she picking
59 this
something up
year.
off the floor. So that's the difference. You know what I'm
Where
saying?
she
It's
might be
that
picking them
Ben.
pills up.
She sure might be. She might be picking that chain up that's dragging from them shackles
With
on
them
her ass because
shackles.
she is
Yeah.
back there. Yeah.
So,
So.
I say it in jest, but I'm also serious. There is a element of the law, Dustin, that we'll consider what we call kind of elder status. But the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, per the numbers, Karen doesn't qualify. No
Got
judge is
it. That
looking
makes
at,
sense. Yeah.
yeah, no judge is looking at Karen Huger saying that's an old lady. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
Karen was 78, if Karen
Mm-hmm.
was 82,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure, that would be something to consider. We would be literally calling that a mitigating factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it
Okay.
was Ray getting a fourth
Mm-hmm.
DUI, you know what I mean? Her
Now he the
husband.
one need to be drinking.
No, you know what?
Much hell is she putting him through? She waited till he got 90 years old to start this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Except for she didn't. She's actually not starting. That's the thing, Dustin.
true. Number 4. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right,
that's
Ebony.
the
You're
thing we got
right.
to keep coming back to. She not starting. Okay. So number one, let's go through, and that's like I said, that's a totally fair take. I totally get it. I'll be full disclosure. I have not seen an episode of Potomac since um Monique left the show. And not
Okay.
like in protest of Monique
Right,
per
right, right.
se,
Just
but just for me, the story kind of did what it needed to do. I'm probably also, of course, being colored by at that point. I think it was at that point I started filming for Roni. Once you know how the sausage is made, the whole thing kind of
mm-hmm.
tastes a little different. I'll leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so Karen, as we've said several times, this was her fourth conviction. Okay. She had several convictions in earlier years, her most recent being in 2011. Now let's eat. This is so fascinating, jurors, because just look at the difference of perspective here. So I say this to Dustin in the setup. He says, well, that was quite a while ago. He's not wrong. Dustin, you're not
Mm-hmm.
wrong in that was what, 15 years ago, roughly?
Mm-hmm.
But in the court of law and kind of the perspective of the court, when you kind of ration out what 4 DUIs look like over the course of a lifetime, 2011 feels very recent to the court.
Yeah.
And
I
I'll
can
prove
see
it to
that.
you. Yeah, because like when I was practicing as a criminal defense lawyer, y'all in North Carolina, I would say 30% of my practice was DUI. I was
Mm-hmm.
heavy on DUI. And so I would see
Mm-hmm.
various iterations of what
Mm-hmm.
this charge and the nature of this shit looks like. And sadly, what we call people like Karen, we call them habitual offenders. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Literally habitual DUI offenders. And she, sadly, she's far from alone in being one of these individuals that have 2, 3, 4, I've seen up to 6, literally a lifetime of 6 DUIs. And
Mm.
unless you can tell the court the most recent one was like 30 years ago, because again, like I've had a client, right? Let's say I had a client who was 65, which I have had. And I say, well, Your Honor, their most recent DUI was in 92.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a situation where, because
Mm-hmm.
like then it would say like, oh, okay, she had 2 or 3 in her 20s or 30s. She clearly had a problem. She's mostly stood on the straight and narrow for 20, 25 years. So we're going to ask the court to be lenient in
Mm-hmm.
regards to her habitual nature. You see how that
Mm-hmm.
argument
Mm-hmm.
has a bit more steam
Yeah.
than
Very
asking
different
the
than
court,
10
yeah,
years ago or
to look
whatever.
at right, basically look the
Mm-hmm.
other way for 10 years, because
Mm-hmm.
basically what we see is a pattern of every 10-ish years, you in the
Mm-hmm.
same motherfucking situation, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
You're flagrantly disrespecting a law that has told you over, and over again, you are not to get behind the wheel of a vehicle with any level of intoxication. And the judge checked her in real time, as we saw in the sentencing, when she
Yeah.
tried to claim through, her legal counsel, oh, my impairment was due to taking the antidepressant pills. So basically trying to blame it on a mix of pharmaceuticals and a little bit of, no. The judge say, ma'am, knock it the fuck off. Specifically, the quote was, you were filled to the gills
The
with alcohol.
gills,
The
okay?
gills. That's
Feel
up
to the
here.
gills.
That's way up
Yeah.
here by the neck. By
I
the
said,
neck.
damn.
Yeah, you were filled to the gills with alcohol, and it was obvious. I actually chose not to watch the video that was
Mm-hmm.
released, just because
Mm-hmm.
it did feel a bit exploitative to me. I
I
was
get
not on
that.
the jury, yeah, and I'm not the judge, so it wasn't necessary for me to see. But I get that people did look at it, and from all accounts, it was unconscionable. It
It
was
was shocking.
unconscionable.
It was
Yeah,
shocking, and there was no way that she could explain any of that behavior. There was no way. You were fucked up,
yeah,
lit.
yeah.
Okay, 2 sheets to the wind.
So she said,
That's what
and
she
per,
was.
yeah, filled to the gills, as the judge said, right? And
Filled to the
per
gills.
Field to the field. Listen, it rhymes. Field to the gills. Per our extraordinary producer here, Miss Ashley Hobbs,
Mm-hmm.
fourth DUI in 17 years. That's really actually quite condensed.
Yeah, it is. When
If
you,
we put the
yeah.
timeline like this, and you telling me that it's giving back to back, it's giving
Mm-hmm.
back to back,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, which is really, really a serious problem. So she was found guilty by the trial, the triers of fact, the jurors, on 5 of the 6 charges, including negligence, driving under the influence, and everything else. The only thing, again, they acquitted her of was the reckless. Now, you said something also interesting, that she
Mm-hmm.
was convicted of this DUI, and it's unfortunate to see this old lady go to jail for a nonviolent offense. I'm going to make
Mm-hmm.
a different argument. If
Okay.
I'm the judge or I'm the prosecutor,
You are the judge, Judge Ebony.
why? Let's be motherfucking clear.
Come on. Hell yeah. Let's talk about it. You dropping your gavel, goddamn
That's
it.
it. That's it. We've entered the Judge Ebony space at this point. Y'all check out local
Mm-hmm.
listings if you are in the New York tri-state area.
That's
That's going to
right. How
be on
about that?
channel 55 at 11:30 a.m. And for those of y'all out on the West Coast in LA, check out KCAL 9 at 1:30 in the afternoon. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
But I'm
Wherever
all
you
over.
get your court shit, you
Wherever
gonna
you
see
get your
Judge
court
Ebony.
shit, Judge
That's
Ebony is
right.
available. I got a
Yes.
large following in Florida as well. Shout out to
How
Florida.
about that? Okay.
So, but for real though, D, if this was my courtroom, I'm gonna look at this as more of a violent offense than a nonviolent offense. Let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
why.
Mm-hmm.
But for God,
Mm-hmm.
quite literally, when Karen crashed that Maserati in this 2024 case into what ultimately was a median and a sign, a pedestrian
Mm-hmm.
sign, it could have been a vehicle, it could have been a pedestrian.
Yeah.
It could have been violence against herself. I've seen single car crashes, just like the one Karen had, take the life of the driver and or her passenger.
Yeah.
And
That's
oftentimes it's
serious.
the passenger. Yeah, sadly to say, my high school history teacher, he killed his best friend. Killed his
Damn.
best friend in the car with him, single car. So, and by the way, he taught us 20 years after the fact, he was still fucked up. Absolutely.
Damn.
Never. So listen, this is not a scare tactic, y'all. I really need y'all to hear. And this is not to say, again, I was very vulnerable and talked about this when we covered, it
Oh
was Puff
yeah.
Son's DUI.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, in my younger, dumber fucking days, have I gotten behind the wheel after 2 or 3 cocktails that should not have been consumed, knowing I was driving? I have. This is not a
Mm-hmm.
holier than thou self-righteous moment. This is a moment of accountability for all of
Yeah.
us. This is
Yeah.
a moment of, in an era of Uber, in an era of hiring drivers, in an
Mm-hmm.
era of get somebody else to do it,
Mm-hmm.
in an era of leave the car there, come back, get it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start making those decisions.
Yeah.
Because we simply can. Simply because we can. And when we don't make those decisions, Dustin, I believe that the court has every right to construe that choice as a violent choice.
Yeah.
Because we can't pretend to not know what we know, baby. We know that when you get behind the wheel of any level of intoxication, this includes alcohol, of course. It includes certain levels of pharmaceuticals. It includes certain
Mm-hmm.
levels of cannabis. It includes anything that we know impairs
Mm-hmm.
our motor skills,
Mm-hmm.
our cognitive skills. I mean, this is very simple, really. And when we start talking about the consequences of defying those mandates, You're talking about something very fucking violent. What are we talking? That's the
You're
most violent
100% right.
that we can imagine. Yeah.
I'm a person who, and I just had this experience last week. I was at one of my favorite spots, Brooklyn Chop House,
Oh
right?
yes, yes.
And I was sitting at the bar, me and my
You were in
friend,
Midtown and you were in
and
Brooklyn.
downtown. I was
Downtown.
downtown on Nassau, yeah.
Oh yes.
And
Okay.
so this lady, there was a young lady at the bar. She was a Russian young lady, right? Very
Mhm.
thick accent, and she had a huge personality. She was talking to everybody, and she started talking to me at the bar. I could tell she was
Two
completely
shapes to the
fucked up.
wind.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
talking about gone, right?
Yeah. You said
So
feel
we're
to the
t-
gills. Did you say
filled
feel to
to
the
the
gills?
gills, okay, with Russian vodka. So I
Right.
was like, you know what? She, as we were talking, she was like she would, per the things that we were discussing, she would be like, see, feel my stomach. And I wouldn't
Mm.
touch her, right? She was telling me, like, see, feel my stomach there, like really trying to engage with me,
Mhm.
I wouldn't touch her. Because
Right.
I'm not going to
Because you're
be on
smarter than that.
camera
Yeah,
putting
you're
my hands
smarter
on
than
no
that.
even in her at her no, I was like, oh no, I won't be doing that. But we kept talking, being friendly.
Right.
When we got ready to go, she was so drunk, Ebony, and she said that she was walking around the corner to wherever she was going or whatever. She lived in the area and she was just walking around the corner. It was kind of difficult to make out what she was saying
I'm
at that
sure it
point.
was. Yeah.
And my friend was like, we should walk her to make sure she gets home. I said, no, the fuck, we should not. I was
Mhm.
like, what we're going to do is tell this bar to make sure that she gets home okay, tell this
Mhm.
bartender that, and
Mhm.
then we going on about our business.
Mhm.
She, however, was so drunk at that bar, Ebony, she was so vulnerable to so much harm.
Mhm.
She was at risk of so much shit.
Yeah.
And thank God that I was a person who wanted, to wish her well and make sure she was safe
Sure.
and assist her in that, because you could have easily walked
Taking
in there with
any
her
kind of
any.
advantage. Yeah.
So and she was alone, a young
Mhm.
lady. We were there
Yep.
when the restaurant was closing. It was 11
Sure.
p.m. You know what I mean? And that's in downtown in the financial district where that restaurant is. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of pedestrian traffic
It's
after
not a,
five,
it's a very
6.
commercial area. Yes, not a
Yeah.
lot of
So she was
neighborhood.
just at risk of a lot of harm. And I say that to say that drinking shit is dangerous. And you
Yeah.
really have to be diligent in your effort to stay safe when you're doing that. There are so many people who literally drink too much. I hate it because it makes my stomach hurt. That's why but
Uh-huh.
I,
Right.
I but that just Thursday when I saw her and when I was engaging with her, thank God I wasn't drunk. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
And
I
you
was
see it
peeping.
different too when you're sober. Yeah, when you're sober and you're witnessing a highly intoxicated or even moderately intoxicated
Mm-hmm.
individual, it hits totally different. Just like you're saying.
Totally different. So it's just that was just a wake up call to me. Like, yo, this is really an issue still after all these years and all these examples and all of this information. People are still sitting at their bar getting towed
Hold the fuck
down.
up and doing all kinds of things after, to your point. To your
Mm-hmm.
point. We don't know what the
Mm-hmm.
so here's the thing. I thought the 1 year sentence was relatively light. I'm gonna tell you
Mm-hmm.
why. I think 1 year is the bare minimum that this judge could have sentenced her to. Keep in
Mm-hmm.
mind that the prosecutors were only asking for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's extraordinarily telling. By the way, keep in mind also that Karen and her legal team decided to decline an offer of 6 months house arrest that I was told was made while filming was happening. Is that true,
Yeah,
Dustin?
that's what I read as well. I read
Yeah.
those reports as well. So what a
Yeah.
dumbass move. I don't
Yeah.
know why
That
they
was
would
a
advise her to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say to me, well, I can tell you what probably happened was the legal team was feeling themselves being on some real grandiose, self-important, arrogant type of vibes that maybe thinking because Karen was a celebrity of sorts that was going to impact some type of abnormal because I have to believe if Karen was Sandra Smith working at the local check cashing joint,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
would have
Mm-hmm.
taken that this is the fourth DUI in
Mm-hmm.
20 years. Black
Mm-hmm.
woman in Maryland, and the
Mm-hmm.
prosecutor is even willing to offer 6 months house arrest.
You
That's
should have
what we
taken
call
that
the
and ran with
sweetheart of
it.
a deal.
Yeah.
You take that with a smile on your face and thanks to the court, and you get the
Mm-hmm.
hell on. And I'm going to go a step further and say that I have to believe that the prosecutors only offered such a deal because of Karen's celebrity positioning. I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe that an ordinary citizen, particularly
Mm-hmm.
a black ordinary citizen, would have even received such an offer. Now some of y'all are saying, well, Ebony, you just kind of Is this Ebony just being tough or just being hard? No, no, no. Let me tell you the mindset of both the prosecutors and the judge in these type of what we call habitual DUIs.
Mm-hmm.
See, again, we're looking at the fact that through the grace of, I have to give it to God, the grace of God, no one thus far has been injured or hurt, including
Thus
Karen
far being
herself.
the key words.
Right. Now, let me tell you what else I've stood in a courtroom and saw when I was a very young lawyer, about 24 years old, was
Mm-hmm.
a practicing public defender in
At
my whole
24.
office at 24, by the way. And that was after I practiced a year in private firms.
Do the math. She been doing this. She was
I've been
early.
doing this. I've been doing
She was
this.
early. Go ahead.
So I'm standing in the back of the courtroom, Dustin, Charlotte-Mecklenburg County Court, and my
Mm-hmm.
whole public defender's office, for the most part, is in the court. Why? Because there's the sentencing of a vehicular homicide. And it was devastating. You saw on one side of the courtroom, y'all, a family, and it was a white family, but it was a family. I think all these people
Mm-hmm.
were white, but anyways, and they had everybody was wearing a button on their outfit, and it was of a 3-year-old little boy.
Oh my God. Oh no.
3-year-old
3
little
years
boy,
old?
3 years old, and he had perished. He had left this beloved earth in a DUI car crash, and the person who had been convicted of killing him, essentially, not murder, but it was a vehicular homicide. It
Mm-hmm.
was committing an intentional act, which was getting
Mm-hmm.
intoxicated, getting behind the wheel, having no malicious intent, but certainly the intention to drink, and then the
Yeah.
intention to drive, and you fucked around and you killed a baby. And I
Damn.
want to say this, as much as we were grieving and heartbroken for that baby's family, that baby's parent, that baby's community,
Mm-hmm.
there was humanity and compassion for that defendant, because that
Mm-hmm.
defendant has to live with this. Forget the years. I think ended up getting sentenced to like 3 years and then like
Mm-hmm.
10 years suspended sentence or something. But forget that. I mean, to an extent, maybe 5 years active time and 10 years suspended, but whatever it was, you knew it couldn't compare to the lifetime that this man now has to live with, knowing that but for your actions, a 3-year-old would become a 5-year-old, who would become a teenager,
Woo.
who would become an adult, who would get married, who would potentially have children of their own. So
Damn.
from the perspective of the judge and prosecutors, y'all, this ain't about Karen happened to run over a median and hit a pedestrian sign. They have to project out to the worst case possible scenario if Karen Huger dares to have a 5th DUI,
Yeah.
if Karen Huger dares have a 6th DUI. And let me tell you what happens politically speaking. And I know some of y'all are over the politics, but this is at play. I'm not going to pretend like it's
Mm-hmm.
not at fucking play, because it's at
Mm-hmm.
play. When you're talking about a prosecutor and a judge, those are political offices, and they're very much at play. So
Mm-hmm.
when that judge runs again, because they have to run for that district court seat, when that prosecutor's lead prosecutor runs again to be the DA of Mecklenburg County,
Mm-hmm.
and or in this case, Karen Huger, let's go to Montgomery County, where this is taking place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when that judge that gave Karen the 1 year, he had to give her the year. They felt they had to give her the year, because had they given her less, or given her what some of y'all wanted, which was no jail time and more probation,
Mm-hmm.
and then she goes and drinks to the gills again, gets filled to the gills again,
Mm-hmm.
has a 5th DUI, hurts or kills someone, that blood is on the
It's
hands
on that
of that
judge's
judge.
hands. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And guess what? And is.
Mm-hmm.
Because how could you, as an officer of the court, look at a set of facts like this
Mm-hmm.
and think at this point, if not before, there must be a severe consequence to dissuade and discourage this level of behavior? And
Yep.
actually, Dustin, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm looking at DUI number 3 judge side the fuck ways. Because
Mm-hmm.
how in the world, one DUI, I hardly ever see active jail time, and I think that's the right ruling. Second DUI, I've seen some get probation. I've seen some have to serve 30 days on a
Mm-hmm.
second DUI,
Mm-hmm.
or at least weekends.
Mm-hmm.
I say I've seen it often. That's not crazy. So by the time you get to a 3rd DUI, I have actually never seen a 3rd DUI, Dustin, hand to God, in my almost 20 years of practice now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a licensed attorney. I've never seen someone get a third DUI and not serve 1 day.
Wow.
They're at least serving weekends. Yeah, now it's a modified. I'm not saying they're serving 5 years, but they're
Right,
serving
right,
30
right.
days. They're serving 90 days. They're serving, I'm going to give you a 60-day sentence. I'm going to suspend 30 days. Yes, okay, you work and you have a family. I'm going to let you do 4 weekends
Yeah.
at your choosing even. But you're going to have to do them within 6 months. That's normally what that looks like. So I actually believe Karen and everybody involved here, including the community in which she lives and drives in, was done a disservice by the previous judge on the third DUI in 2011, not giving
Mm-hmm.
her an active sentence then. Because
Mm-hmm.
had she done, because I do think a year is a long time. Let's be clear. That ain't no chump fucking change. A year in jail, and I disagree, Dustin. And, I know we'll get into this when we do some
Mm-hmm.
commentary later today. Shout out to Carlos King. But
Mm-hmm.
I actually do not see her doing less than that year. I know a lot of people, good behavior. Oh, this, she'll eat her Cheerios
Mm-hmm.
and bump her nails and she'll be fine and she'll be out in 6 months. This ain't that, y'all. First of all, this is not a federal sentence. So, like what y'all are seeing, a lot of people are misapplying the Jen Shaw at all. They say, oh, well,
Yeah.
Jen Shaw was sentenced to originally, what was it, for almost 4 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now it's been cut down to almost half. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that is a federal situation y'all are looking at with Jen Shaw.
Totally different.
There's a million reasons and I'm not saying that's right, by the way, or wrong. I'm just saying it don't fucking apply.
Yeah.
That is federal sentencing involved. We don't know what cooperation she's given the feds to miraculously have this sentence knocked down again and again and again and again. So we kind of need to mind our business on that one. What's going on with Karen is state court. It's much more cut and dry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much shorter sentence. So taking somebody from 5 years to 2.5 years is one thing. Taking somebody from 1 year to 6 months is totally different. If the judge intended her to do 6 months, the judge would have sentenced her to what? 6 months.
6 months. Yeah. Her
The
ass
judge,
gonna be in there a year.
yeah, I think she's gonna be in there the full fucking year. I think she should be in there the full fucking
Me
year. I think
too.
it's gonna take that for her to start to really get clear
Yeah.
on the fact that this is not it, ma'am. It's too much at stake for the community that you're putting at risk. And it's actually too much at stake for you, ma'am. Because if
Yeah.
you dare do this once more, and the circumstances are deadly or much more severe, not only are you going to go to jail
You
for an
gonna stay
extended period of
there.
time and stay there. I don't know. They call me old fashioned and crazy, Dustin. I don't want that on my life conscience.
No.
I don't want to live
Nope.
with. I think this is for protection. I know this sounds harsh, y'all. Maybe this is tough love. Karen's gonna do a year in jail in part to protect Karen. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at on it. I really
Yeah.
feel that way.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there will definitely be benefits from her taking this time away from whatever is making her get fucked up like that. She might just like to drink. She might be drinking and to cope
Maybe
with some sort of trauma, whatever. I think she just likes to drink.
it's
And I think that
possible.
I think she just got drunk and caught up in a situation that
Yeah.
coupled with her very clear and apparent sense of celebrity. I think
Hmm.
that is, I think that she's right where she needs to be. She
Yeah,
needs
it's
to
a
break.
dangerous. Here's what we know for sure. It could be all of that, Dustin. But what we know is it's a dangerous cocktail in the most
Mm-hmm.
literal sense. It could turn into
Mm-hmm.
a deadly cocktail for Karen too. Like
Mm-hmm.
y'all, motherfuckers dying behind the wheel too.
Mm-hmm.
Like this goes always. And I
People get
don't
drunk
wish
in the house and fall on shit and
that's
all kind
it.
of shit. It's
That's it.
dangerous.
I don't
Yeah.
wish that for Karen. I don't wish that for Ray. I don't wish that for her community. So I think she needs to be sat the fuck down
Mm-hmm.
with this year behind bars. Luckily, she'll be, I say luckily in relative luck, she'll be at the county jail. She won't be shipped away to a prison. She'll be at the county jail because her sentence is less than 18 months. It's relatively low level offenses that are housed
Mm-hmm.
there. She's not going to be behind there with axe murderers, hopefully. And it'll give something to think about. And I'll end with this. When people get DUIs, because some people are like, well, she already went to rehab. Doesn't that count for something? Not on your fourth DUI. Now,
Mm-hmm.
again, when I've had clients that it's their first, maybe second offense, we always do that. That's standard protocol, y'all. And all the
Mm-hmm.
lawyers listening, and even the law students or people that's been clerking over the summons at the DA's office, a public defender's office, or defense firms, y'all know that's what we do. The minute you have a client come in on DUI, what do? We schedule them an assessment, an alcohol assessment. with a reputable clinic or facility that is designed to assess, do you have an alcohol problem? They ask you questions, Dustin. Are you depressed? Are you this? Are you self? They're trying to suss out some of what you were throwing out there. Is this a self-medication issue? Is this a depression issue? Is this just a flat out chemically dependent alcoholic issue? Because that happens too. And then based on that assessment, you are actually given a ranking most of the time. 1, 2, 3, or 4, sometimes 5. You present that to the judge pre-trial. That's oftentimes how we decide, are you allowed bail? Are you allowed this? Do you qualify for the lock on the car to say where you can breathe? All interlock. It's a lot of shit to DUI, y'all. That's another thing. Note to jurors, if you or someone you love find themselves looking at a DUI charge, don't hire no general motherfucking lawyer.
Get a lawyer that specializes
You
in that.
have to get a lawyer that specializes in DUI. I cannot
Yep.
emphasize that enough. Because as you can, and this is me 15 years out the game telling y'all what I recall from what this looks like. I ain't touched a DUI in 15 years, and this is just memory, muscle memory. So it's a lot that goes into this. So for Karen to be on number 4, trust and believe, she's already been assessed. She's already been determined to have whatever her situation is. I'm not at liberty to speak or speculate, and I won't. She said, I'm not an alcoholic. Okay. But whatever is at play, whatever rehab she went to keep her from coming to the reunion was absolutely, that's fine. That's the least you can do. But that is absolutely at this point, ma'am, not a substitute for the actual penalty, the actual rehabilitation needed to get you on the straight and narrow. That's it.
And to me, it made things worse because it looked disingenuous. Her entering that rehab facility, missing the reunion and all of that. It did not read or land as a sincere effort towards sobriety. So to me, it made it worse. It looked like she was just doing it to avoid a harsh. Very performative. Very performative. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Well, at least now we know why her hair was looking fucked up. She was drunk. We've been wondering for years why Karen's wig was not in position, and she'd have those issues. She'd been drunk. Karen been wet.
I mean, was she drunk at the heyday back in the day? Remember when they was in
Yeah, she apparently so.
Okay.
Hell yeah, Karen. Look, she had a cup. She had a cup that day.
She did have
Karen
a cup.
been drunk, so
Well, listen.
Yeah.
I know. I gave it to Miss Huger. I wish Karen health.
Yeah,
I wish her success. I wish the same for her husband Ray. And I will make the space for this for those that are she won't do the year. There is always an opportunity for her defense team, Dustin, to put a request in for some type of compassionate early release. So heaven forbid if Ray's health turns to the worse. Heaven forbid if I know she obviously lost her mother. Is her father still with us?
No, both her parents.
Both her parents are gone. I don't know if her daughter was in, if there was some extensive circumstance that would justify if Karen herself got ill, they can always make a plea for that. But outside of that,
she gonna be in there.
Karen gonna do that year.
Yeah.
And I think she needs to. I really truly do. Not trying to be hard on her, trying to protect everybody involved. Karen, but also again, the prosecutor and this judge. They to me, they need to be looked at absolutely fucking sideways. If you look at a facts pattern like this, 4 DUIs within 20 years, still a relatively young woman, but by the letter of the court, these judges, we be old as motherfucker, doesn't we be 80 years old on the bench? She's seen as young. She's seen as young. So all they're thinking is how much more damage she can do outside.
That's it.
That's
Clankety
it.
clank, like she said. Clankety clank.
Clankety clank. All right. Moving on now to just a real tearjerker of a story, y'all. Southern University, shout out to the Jags. A student collapses and ultimately dies, passes away after allegedly participating in ritual and hazing activities to be initiated into a fraternity. We're talking about young Caleb Wilson, just 20 years old. He was found non-responsive, brought to Baton Rouge General Hospital, and he was pronounced dead shortly after on the morning of February 27th. Caleb Wilson collapsed while participating allegedly as a pledge member, what is commonly known as being online, for a ritual to pledge and be initiated ultimately in Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. According to East Baton Rouge Coroner's Office, The cause of death is currently undetermined. An investigation has been launched. Those are going to be very, very key to the legal proceedings as we keep those posted for you. Southern University Division of Student Affairs has issued a statement. They're putting an indefinite pause on all membership activities of all organizations on campus, including fraternities, sororities, student clubs, and I have to imagine the band as well, because a lot of HBCUs, band and things like that also tend to involve this activity or something similar. In a statement, Southern University has said this: Southern University A&M College is aware of an off-campus incident that may have resulted in the death of student Caleb Wilson, a junior from New Orleans, majoring in mechanical engineering. The campus community extends condolences to his family, classmates, and loved ones. Southern is cooperating fully with the Baton Rouge Police Department, which is in charge of the investigation. No further information is available at this time. Dustin, did you see this one percolating on social? And if so, what did you think?
I definitely saw it. And the first thing that came to my mind, Ebony, when I read this is, damn, this is a bad time for this sort of headline, right? With the Trump administration slicing and dicing any sort of funding toward HBCUs and trying their best to uproot them in general, this sort of headline is not helpful, right? I'm afraid that this will be viewed as a portal to destroying HBCUs by the powers that be in the Trump administration. So when I saw this first, my first thought was, damn, my heart went out to that young man and his family. And my second line of thought was, this is at a really fucked up time because there's a target on the back of HBCUs from this administration. And this type of headline will kind of knock those dominoes over in the wrong direction. So I was heartbroken on multiple levels
reasons
when I read this. Yeah.
And I think that all of those things are true at the same time. And that's real to ignore the very obvious attack on HBCUs broadly and a swelling narrative that's being aggressively pushed from this Trump administration and others that say that HBCUs are bad for America. HBCUs are a waste of federal resources. HBCUs are essentially a problem. This type of happening only makes that worse. I totally agree with that, Dustin. It's a very, I think, important yet nuanced point of view. And also, at large, politics aside, just inexcusable and unconscionable at this point. If indeed, and again, of course, all of this is alleged, the investigation continues. It's very important that we say this, not just jargon. There is yet to be a determination conclusively as to the participation, the involvement, if you will, of both Southern University itself as an institution, as well as Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. The fraternity did also put out a statement. I want to read just a part of it. And I was glad actually to see that they put out a statement, Dustin, because oftentimes, again, I've been in these legal rooms too, where something is alleged to involve you or your org or your company, and from a PR standpoint, you want to maybe say something for a bunch of different reasons, right? But from a legal standpoint, you don't want to look like you're making an admission of guilt, right? So there's that conflict, if you will, of interest. But on this one, I was glad to see that ultimately there was a decision made to make a statement. It admits no legal responsibility, which is the right thing to do at this particular time. But it acknowledges that this young man lived, that this young man has died, and that there is at least some possibility of the fraternity being proximate to it. So in part, it reads this: "It is with profound sorrow that we extend our condolences on the passing of Caleb Wilson. His loss is deeply felt, and our hearts go out to his family, friends, and all that were touched by him. We have been informed that the local authorities have launched an investigation, and we fully support their efforts to seek the truth. We recognize that people have questions, and we are working to gather accurate information." Again, that is in part, and this is signed by their Grand Basilisk, Mr. Ricky L. Lewis. I want to commend Mr. Lewis of Omega Psi Phi for at least doing that much. I
Yeah,
will
for
say
sure.
And I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna stand on it, Dustin, because my beloved sorority. I talk about AKA too much on this show. I salute AKA too much on this show. I flex AKA too much on this show. To not in this moment stand in account to the fact that my beloved sorority has in the past been associated with similar outcomes
Mm-hmm.
that have cost young women their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe, in my personal opinion, that my beloved sorority acknowledged even basic facts in a way that was just enough, is how I'll say that.
So it's good to see this from the
So
Q
it's good to
organization.
see
Yeah.
this from Omega Psi Phi. For me,
Omega
on a
Sci-Fi.
personal
Yeah.
note, and again, I reiterate, I'm speaking in a personal capacity, not
Mm-hmm.
on behalf of the sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I'm speaking as an individual, Ebony K. Williams. I
Mm-hmm.
like to see when organizations don't preeminently or prematurely or erroneously step into legal responsibility, but can just as civic leadership organizations acknowledge basic truths and
Yeah.
basic facts for the communities that we serve and love. I think that's
100%.
important. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
important. So with that said, legally, what does this look like? I want to encourage jurors, if you haven't already, check out this wonderful documentary. It is actually done by a brother of Omega Psi Phi,
Okay.
coincidentally, purely coincident. The brother's name is Byron Hurt. The documentary is called Hazing, the Deadly Ritual at Fraternities and Sororities. Brother Hurt is a filmmaker. The documentary is available on PBS. And I actually interviewed him, Byron, when I had my griot show.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen the documentary. First of all, it's fantastic. It's just well done. And I want to be clear, it doesn't just, what I love about the documentary is it's comprehensive. It doesn't only focus on Black organizations. It talks
Mm-hmm.
about the young men and women of all races, white, Asian, Hispanic, indigenous, that are also being killed in these ritualistic hazing style activities
Yeah.
at Cornell, at Dartmouth, at all these various schools all across the country. And the bottom line is this: two things. Number one, nobody should have to fucking die to be in any organization.
Mm-hmm.
That's just period. And if you think otherwise, you're a fucking problem. And I'm on
Mm-hmm.
record saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, legally speaking, Dustin, though our organizations will not survive the continued lawsuits, the continued payouts, the continued expenses associated with the mere investigations and all the, like, we cannot make it if
It's not
this continues.
sustainable.
It's literally not sustainable, Dustin Ross. Not the universities themselves, not some of the bands and other orgs, and certainly not the fraternities and sororities. This is an unsustainable model of even being proximate to these types of accusations in a year like 2025.
Yeah. 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 100% agree. This is just not the optics of this. So first of all, somebody's dead. Full stop. Right.
Period. Yeah.
So the optics of that are just not positive in any way. No way. So it's just not good. And this is a wake up call to everybody who is involved in Greek life in general.
Mhm.
This is a wake up call on every level, from leadership, from organization leadership, executive leadership of the organization, all the way down to the campus level. This is a wake up call, and it sends a shockwave all the way up the chain. So it
Yeah.
is good to see official correspondence like that from the organization
Yeah.
themselves
At the national
acknowledging
level.
this. You know, it's great to see that. And if there's ever been a Black business that needs to be ran right, it is Black Greek organizations like
100%.
that. This is just, life is so fragile at that early stage, and it's so impressionable, and to have that much control over a person's experience, there's a hell of a weighty responsibility that comes along with that. This is, you know, like I said, it's causing the conversations that need to be had, and hopefully we
Yeah.
finally see some real change, because this has
Yeah.
been talked about for eons, decades, years.
So I want to speak on
So
the change piece too, because I
yeah.
do have to be consistent here. And one thing that I do want to applaud,
Mm-hmm.
certainly my sorority, and I want to say most of the D9 that I'm aware of, since historic tragedies of the past, there have been swift, severe, and mighty changes. I can't tell you about a conference I've been to, Dustin, nationally or regionally, a
Mm-hmm.
cluster, a meeting where anti-hazing has not been drilled over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over. It's in the documents, it's in the speeches, it's in the presentations. There has been, thankfully, a much um, a highly advanced campaign to make it super clear that we are a non-hazing organization. We don't do that. Any outliers that are trying to move that way must be named, name them, and get rid
Yeah.
of them. And get rid of them. And that has been taken extraordinarily seriously from my experience with my sorority. And I believe that to be true with several other D9 organizations. And again,
Mm-hmm.
some of these band organizations and some of these other student activity groups where
Mm-hmm.
there has been strong leadership, Dustin. This says, that ain't it. That's not us. We believe in proving worthiness and qualifications in a legitimate fashion. It is not that. And anybody associated with that must be gone.
I love it. Yep.
And that's important to acknowledge too. So I think that's why when many of us saw this horrible story about young Caleb Wilson in Baton Rouge, it just felt so disheartening because in many ways, Dustin, there has been tremendous progress,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, thank God we don't hear about these stories as often as we used to. But
Mm-hmm.
to your point, we shouldn't be hearing about them
At all. Yeah. You're right, Ebony. You're right.
at
So,
all. So
yep.
listen, jurors, we'll keep y'all updated, but of course, we want to offer our condolences to the Southern University campus community. They've, and they've been through a lot. Southern also
Yeah.
had, yeah, you remember it was like about a year or so ago, a young student was killed in a car wreck,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. And Southern's dear to my heart. And,
Yeah.
I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of friends. In fact, I was born in
Mm-hmm.
Amy. I'm from down there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a wonderful university, a wonderful campus, brilliant leaders. And I'm just really holding space for the pain of that Southern University campus community. And I know you are as well, Dustin. So I love
Yes.
and our condolences to Caleb Wilson and his family and to the Southern community. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up here with some gems for y'all as it relates to family law and why it's almost always a bad idea to be your own lawyer.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Princess Love, of course, y'all already know, longtime estranged wife of Ray J. I feel like, I don't know, Dustin, season 1, we were talking about this divorce. We've been
Yeah.
talking about it for 11 years.
Yeah.
What was the founder say? 11 years
40
ago?
years ago. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Lord have mercy. God damn. They've been getting a divorce since the 60s, ain't they?
At least.
Shit.
They've been getting a divorce since before the Civil Rights Act.
I mean, Woodstock. God damn. Like, what the hell is going on?
So they are still getting this divorce, allegedly, y'all. Let Princess Love tell it. This is for real this time. Let's just hear from her in her own audio.
Have y'all been going back and forth with court? Because we haven't heard much about.
So I had a lawyer, and I had a very expensive and ruthless lawyer, and he wanted me to get full custody of the kids and get all this money, and it's like I'm not trying to be on bad terms with the father of my kids. So, Ray and I came to an agreement, and my lawyer was not happy with it, and he said I'm not going to sign off on that. So if you want to, you can do that, but you have to fire me as your lawyer. So right. I fired him as my lawyer. I'm working as my own attorney right now.
Really?
Yes. Because I just don't want to fight, So we came to an agreement. Yeah, so we're literally days away.
To be honest, that might be the smartest way to go about it. Yeah, to keep the family intact, keep the kids good.
I don't hate him,
Okay, so y'all can hear here on this Morning Hustle show, she is confirming that her and Ray J are for real this time and that the divorce is going to be finalized in just days. But as y'all heard her say, that she had this lawyer, Dustin, and he was really aggressive. And he didn't agree with her approach as to how she wanted to kind of amicably approach this divorce with Ray J. And so she fired this aggressive lawyer. And she is now handling the legal proceedings herself. She is now representing herself. Let me just start with your thoughts on that. When you hear Princess Love is acting as her own counsel, what does Dustin Ross think?
She gonna be right next to Karen, and you can't even go to jail for a divorce. she gonna be right next. She gonna fuck around and end up right next to Karen. Princess Love, you are not Princess Love Esquire. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be represented. If anybody needed help in a
Listen.
court of law, it's Princess Love. I think this is the dumbest shit some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Gotta be. And listen, for the record, even those of us with the credentials know what kind of lawyer represents themselves. A foolish one. That's the
Hello.
inside joke. That's the inside joke. Only a fool of a lawyer represents himself as a client. So, and that's for those of us who have the paperwork. So,
Yes.
Gray J's 43, Princess Love 39. They have 2 kids, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. They tied the knot back in 2016, which is crazy. Just how long ago that has been now. We're married for 4 years. Dated for 4 years, married in 2016, and it's been a hot fucking mess ever since. I know many of y'all have watched this relationship play out on Love and Hip Hop. What edition are they on, Dustin?
In Miami. They were on Hollywood initially, but now they're on the Miami franchise. Yep.
Okay, so now they're on Miami franchise. Well, that makes sense because Reggie needs to be down in Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, he does. He's got to, check in with Master and his boss.
Yeah. Well, he's on those day passes.
Mm-hmm.
But let me stop.
Talk about it, E.
Let me stop. Oh, man. Okay, so over the last couple of years, they've called it quits several times again, as y'all know. Ultimately, though, filing for divorce in 2020, but they have dismissed it 3 times. Y'all heard it out the young lady's mouth. This is for real this time. And ultimately, she's saying that she is wanting Dustin to proceed as her own lawyer because she wants to basically keep it cute with Ray J. That's essentially what she's saying, right? That her lawyer's plan was so aggressive and it was harsh and it was obviously going to upset Ray J. Was asking for too much money and too much time and all this stuff. And I have this to say about it. Not only is it generally foolish to act as one's own counsel, and I do not say that, jurors. I think y'all know me to know I'm not in the business of just putting money in lawyers' pockets for the sake of it. So this ain't that. This is what I know. In addition to my criminal practice, my other expertise was family law in my actual legal career. And here's the thing, Dustin. I actually, believe it or not, long ago, was married myself. Briefly. Heavy on briefly.
Okay. Okay.
And divorce is whack, even under what we call the so-called best circumstances. Meaning, even if there's not a bunch of children involved or properties involved and a lot of emotional heartache, it's still just a very unsavory, unfavorable process. It's just an icky,
totally get that,
shitty process. And one of the things that many of us tell ourselves as we go through the process, Justin, to help ease some of that ick is, I don't want this to be too adversarial. I don't want this to be too nasty. I want us to stay as friendly as possible in this. I want it to stay as, quote, easy as it can be. And I'm here to tell you, it's a nasty adversarial. Let me back up. It doesn't have to be nasty, but at its most essential nature, divorce, even under the best circumstances, is adversarial in nature. I'm gonna say that part one more time. Divorce, at its most essential nature, is adversarial in process, because you've got one side and you've got another side. And even if it's not War of the Roses style, and if you haven't seen that movie, you've done yourself a severe disservice, because it's
classic cinema.
Baby. Michael Douglas at his best, baby.
What?
Listen, Kathleen, what's her name? I want to say
Turner.
What's Kathleen Turner, baby. Giving. 80s realness, baby. Anyway.
Yep.
They both die at the end, by the way. Spoiler alert. And they literally kill each other in this divorce, quite literally. And it's so good. So campy. So good. So even if y'all aren't killing each other in the divorce, literally, it's going to be conflict. Because at its very nature, because if it wasn't that way, y'all wouldn't be getting divorced.
Period.
Okay, let me just say it plain. If y'all were so capable of keeping it so amicable, of avoiding conflict with one another's interests, if y'all were so skilled at that, we wouldn't be in divorce court. We wouldn't be filing divorce petitions. Y'all would be able to somehow make this marriage work. So let's knock it the fuck off. And it's actually okay. So Princess Love in this case, and actually, again, I haven't really watched a lot of reality TV show. Oh, that's not true. I haven't watched a lot of Housewives shows, Dustin, in the last couple of years. But someone was telling me that one of the young ladies on Potomac took a similar posture. She didn't fire her lawyer, but she was telling her lawyer to go easy on the ex. And I don't want to adopt. I want to file for child support, but not spousal support. Or I want to do spousal support. Like, let me just say it plain and just get to it.
Come on with
All
it.
of y'all hiring lawyers, which is the right thing to do, let your lawyers do their fucking jobs and get your ass out the way.
Yep.
This is why you have counsel. Because 99 out of 100 times, counsel knows best.
Yep.
Why? Because counsel is talking to guess who? Other counsel, the other side's counsel. So keep this in mind. Whatever your estranged spouse is telling you is likely very different than what they are telling their higher counsel. Because unlike you, they in it to win it. See, that's some of y'all's problem. See, I know some of y'all don't want to hear what Auntie E got to say on this whole episode. Y'all don't want Karen to do her year. Y'all don't want so. Listen, I'm sorry. I love you, so I must tell you the truth.
Yeah.
This fairy tale, pie in the sky, bullshit ass, we gon' divorce as friends narrative that many of y'all, many women in particular, like to tell yourselves, it is false comfort.
Yep.
You are curating yourself false motherfucking comfort. And you better believe that your estranged spouse on the other side of the divorce table is operating in a posture of winning by any means necessary.
Come on.
So while you over here talking your counsel off their strategy, when you're over here undermining the very retainer you pay for, hello, you are working against your own legal and financial interest. And
Yep.
someone must tell you.
Yep.
So that's it, and that's all, y'all. So to Princess Love and any person, woman, man, or non-binary individual, because divorce is on the table for everybody in 2025. Let's be fucking clear. Let's celebrate the equality while we still have it. Okay?
Yes, please. Lord have mercy.
Lord. Divorce is adversarial. Hire the best lawyer you can afford. And then you know what you need to do? Stand your fucking ass down, get out of the way of your counsel, and let them proceed as they see fit.
Absolutely.
All of this, I'm going to hire a lawyer, but I'm going to tell them what to ask for and what not to ask for because I don't want to make him mad and I don't want to make her mad. It's some bullshit. Guess what? They already mad.
That's
They
right.
already mad. They already mad, even if they're not telling you they mad. They're already mad, even if they're not showing you they're mad. So what you
Yep.
need to do is understand that you are in a battle of sorts. Some wars are more extreme than others. Some are 3-day battles. Some are civil wars. Pick which one you're cut out for and proceed accordingly. But don't
Yep.
tell yourself the mythical fairy tale comforting false comfort lie that if I just represent myself and we get the lawyers out of it, because guess what? We ain't getting the lawyers out of it. I bet you Ray J still got his lawyer. Ooh,
How about that?
how about that?
Probably got multiple lawyers.
Probably got
right?
the dream team.
Hello.
Probably didn't call Paul Manafort. No, let me stop.
Ooh.
Michael, listen. But low key for real though, like we don't really know what, and that's what y'all need to remember. I am going to talk to my ladies for 1 second, Dustin, because a lot of y'all think that you will save yourselves. I think this was the argument the old girl made on Potomac. Like he's being fairly generous now in what he's offering me by monthly support, and if I make him mad by trying to put it into a legal framing, a la let my lawyer actually formally request spousal support and child support of this amount, I will make him mad and he will pull the money away. Let me tell you something, ladies. They're pulling the money away anyway. They're simply dangling a carrot to appease you, get you good and comfortable, so you will do exactly what your dumbasses, many of you are doing, which is let your foot off the gas, get your foot off their necks, And then the minute that you get good and comfortable thinking that this is just gonna maintain and continue after the divorce proceeding because he's such a good guy and you've made it so easy on him, your fucking ass is gonna get cut off. And if you're not going to get cut off simply because he decided to cut you off, which is why most of you will get cut off, you will absolutely get cut off when his new woman gets on the fucking scene and says,
Ooh, come
"Enough
on,
is
E.
enough." I'm telling y'all what I know, what I done fucking seen. So you better do yourselves a favor and let your lawyer be the bad cop to your good cop. Let your lawyer ask for all the support at the highest level possible, and then let the judge figure it out from there. That's really
100%.
what I'm telling y'all to do. And if you don't do it, and then you crying into your Cheerios or your ramen noodles or whatever the hell you reduced yourself to post-divorce because you wanted to be the nice guy, you wanted to be the nice ex-wife, you wanted to be the hero of the story, shit, let me tell y'all something right quick. Take it to the bank. I'll be the villain in whatever story you writing. But what
Because
I
it has
won't
to be
be is
well
broke.
written.
What I
How
won't
about
be is
that?
broke. How about that?
Sometimes you have to understand the seriousness of a situation, and we're talking about determining what your life looks like post a breakup through legally binding decisions, right? That's not something to be taken lightly, and you should seek counsel because they know more than you know when it comes to that, and it's that simple.
It's absolutely they know more than you know. And again, let them be the bad guy. Y'all don't know how to act. Is Princess Love an actress? Is that part of her? Is she a model actress, allegedly?
She have to be on Love and Hip Hop if you ask me, but I don't think that that's what she does. No.
Right. Well, start acting, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. What is Ray J's real name? Is it Raymond?
Raymond, yep. Just
Yep.
like the father, because he's Ray Jr., Raymond
Okay,
Jr.,
right.
yep.
Oh my God, Raymond. He did what? He asked you about how much? You know what? That's outrageous. Let me call him and tell him to stand down on that because I certainly didn't authorize that. Don't worry, sweetheart. I'm going to take care of it.
Call
It's
that lawyer and
handled.
say, get
Let me call
more.
that lawyer.
Yeah, okay.
It's handled. Is the retainer still replenished? Okay, great. See you. You better fucking act. Act like you act and act like you know, because you better believe that is what the other side is doing.
Yep, 100%, Princess. Last time you left everything up to Ray J, he pushed your ass in that pool. So let's start there. Because it looked like you're finna get wet again, okay?
Listen, in the worst possible way. So, yeah. So, always a bad idea to represent yourself. Always a bad idea to fire. And it sounded like she had a good lawyer. Most people I hear trying to fire their lawyers, Dustin, it's the opposite problem.
Yep.
You got a lazy ass lawyer, a lawyer that won't call you back, a lawyer that's just asleep at the wheel and letting the other side run over you. Ma'am, you had the best kind of lawyer.
And you told them to get on so you could do it yourself? No.
So you could.
I know she liked to gamble.
Be the good guy. Yeah, so you could be the good guy. So you could be the heroine of the story when Ray J tells his boys.
Yeah, you know, Princess is a successful professional poker player. You know what I'm saying? Remember, she won all that money playing poker. So she is okay with taking a gamble and taking risks. Maybe she's looking at this through that lens, right? Like, well, I can take the risk. I can do it myself. Maybe I'll win. Not smart, Princess.
No, well,
this is literally not a game.
Wins. Yeah, this is one of those the house is always going to win.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, when you take your foot off the gas in this particular battle, it's called concession.
100%.
It's not confession. It's called concession.
It's going to be depression once you see that judgment. You know what I'm saying? So you ought to get your ass in gear now and get that counsel you need. So
and again, I am talking with a heavy hand today, and I know heart is at play in most of these matters. And again, women are, especially women, you know, they don't want it to get ugly. They don't want it to get worse. But I'm gonna tell you something, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. So this is one of those times where you're gonna have to just buckle down, bear it, get through it. And once it's, I was just looking at somebody's group chat. Somebody sent me the other day of their homegirl who, was trying not to put her man on child support, trying not to go that way. And now, guess what? You should have went that way. And now you're trying to go that way, and it's more difficult. So get it while it presents itself at the divorce hearing piece.
For sure.
Guess what? Guess what, Dustin? Here's the good news. If your lawyer is too aggressive, which, by the way, I've never seen, but let's say you can always come back before the court after it's all said and done and request a reduction.
Yeah.
Hey, Your Honor, Ray J is simply giving me too much money this month. Yeah, right. I would love to see his payment reduced by $5,000. Sure, you always could do that. But go ahead and get everything you need on the front end, ma'am. Otherwise, you and them two kids going to be out of order.
That's it. That's it.
Lovely. Okay, well, listen, y'all. Nice, strong docket today. We appreciate y'all sticking with us. If you have not already, because probably just during the hour of this show, the ticket sales have probably skyrocketed. And so it's going to be very few tickets left. And I'm very, very serious. So if you intend to see Dustin Ross here in New York City at City Winery on March 17th at his now second show, the first one is already sold out. It's too late. Me and Natalie already got your tickets. It's 7:30. But there is now a second show available to y'all. Seriously, Dustin is really giving us a gift here, y'all. 9:30, second seating, second show, March 17th. Get your tickets right now while they're still available. We will see y'all. Absolutely. We will see y'all next week, same time. Court will be back in session. In the meantime, bundle up. This cold snap has circled back on our asses. It really did, right? So get your scarves and gloves and all your gear together. And what else would you like the people to do, Dustin?
Read your terms and conditions and send Ebony a comment on Instagram telling her how happy you are that she's a mommy. Ebony has such a good mommy glow right now. So we still happy for you. It don't have to be Mother's Day. So yes, that's it. That's all I want y'all to do.
Thank you. Thank you, baby.
All right.
Holding Court is produced by Uppity Productions. Host and executive producers here, Ebony K. Williams, yours truly, and the Dustin Ross. Executive producer in Dossie, McCraw. Our senior producer, Ashley Hobbs. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any and everywhere you get your podcast.